Sometimes our own worst enemy is ourselves. This month, Disney has been the perfect example of just that very sentiment. You would think that a studio which has enjoyed the success of two major motion picture releases, both of which have surpassed the $1 billion mark, and one of them even threatens that elusive $2 billion mark, would have figured out a way to turn those wins into a month-long victory lap session. But instead, the exact opposite has happened. With all the talk of who needs to go with Disney, who needs to be fired or replaced, the real question that should be getting asked is, who's in charge of making sure all communications coming out of the House of Mouse are being properly vetted? What Disney needs more than anything else is a communications director, someone who needs to know everything that is going on, and what the potential impact of it will be, and how it may get received by the general public, or what effect it may have on the stock. And if that person exists already in the company, then they're the ones that need to be fired first, because damn, things just keep falling apart. I mean, really, Inside Out 2 is well over $1.5 billion and will probably become a cash cow in terms of marketing for Disney for years to come. Deadpool and Wolverine got people excited about the Marvel Universe again and gave Kevin Feige the blueprint to follow to go ahead and just start printing money like he did in the mid-2000s, and you would think that would be enough. But after that, the whole thing kind of just fizzled out. Even San Diego Comic-Con this year was hit and miss. And that's saying something when Robert Downey Jr. first breaks the internet as the new face of evil in the MCU, until fanboys like me take a breath and wonder, why the hell would they bring back RDJ for another role? What exactly is the meaning of it all? Is it desperation, a sort of silent apology for Phase 4 and the so-called MCU? And therein lies the main issue. Disney is not a trusted brand anymore. Too many bait and switches, too many clapbacks at the fans because the product was not well received, or outright mocked for just how bad it was. I mean, I watched the trailers that came out of Comic-Con. None of them really excited me. None of the upcoming Marvel projects got me really excited. I have trust issues, and I suspect a lot of you do too. Get excited for the Fantastic Four? I did that twice already. I got burned both times. The Thunderbolts? A bunch of C-list characters trying to make it to the main roster? Guardians did that already, and going to that well too many times is not going to produce the results Marvel wants. It's the very definition of the law of diminishing returns. Captain America 4? Look, I love Sam Wilson as the Falcon, but he's not Captain America, so stop trying to get me to accept it. It's like when my hamster died when I was a kid while I was away at summer camp. So my parents bought one that looked just like it, and tried to tell me it was the same hamster, but it's not. I can see the difference. Just tell me my pet is dead so I can grieve and move on already. And that's what the Falcon is, a replacement for my dead hamster. Except this time, they're telling me he's better than the original one that I loved in the first place? It doesn't work that way, and it never has. But Deadpool and Wolverine was fresh out of the gate that weekend, and Comic-Con went by without damaging too much, so we rolled with it, despite the stock tanking at the same time. And for those of you who think it was just part of a broader market trend, you're very wrong. Disney stock has underperformed the general market trends by a great deal all year. It has basically become a discount stock at this point. But again, it seemed like things were quiet for a couple of weeks, especially after the release of Deadpool and Wolverine. It looked like Disney was trying to figure things out. There were reports of Marvel purging activist creators after the success of Deadpool and Wolverine gave Disney the clear choice between choosing progressive politics or massive profits. There seemed like there was hope, and then the flood of crap just came piling on in the last week or so. I mean, talk about shooting yourself in the foot. And this is where a communications director, or someone in charge of the message at Disney, either really needs to be put into position, or really needs to be replaced at this point. First, it would not be a week of screw-ups without Kathleen Kennedy making the headlines. I'm not even going to talk about how the Acolyte cast and crew have been running damage control and calling us all racist and bigots for not liking their show. No, instead, the bigger headline, the rumor that Kathleen Kennedy wants to retire, but only after she gets a massive win for Lucasfilm. On the surface, that seems like someone trying to secure their legacy, but in reality, if I were running communications for Disney, I would have told KK to shut the hell up, because she just basically confirmed to all the so-called toxic fans that we're not really toxic, that we were correct all along, that you've put out mostly dog shit over the last 10 years and destroyed multiple IPs in the process, maybe beyond all repair or resuscitation. And now you're desperate to salvage your place in entertainment history? I mean, that's quite an ego and a very narcissistic viewpoint of the world. Now, if she had anything to hang her hat on that was already substantial, she would have retired by now. But the truth is, she doesn't have anything substantial, and now she has admitted it. And Bob Iger must be wondering, what the hell is she doing as he tries to hold the board of directors and big-time investors together with promises of big returns on the Star Wars IP? I mean, I really don't envy that guy, because he's got to fight battles on multiple fronts, including from his own staff. And by the way, I don't believe the bullshit rumor that has come out in recent days trying to stir up this idea that Disney's going to remove the sequel trilogy from canon and maybe even recast it. And really, the idea that Kathleen Kennedy would allow that kind of blow to her ego to occur would be remarkable. It's not going to happen. I know, it's just one of those rumors that gets floated out there, and in the end, it's just not going to happen. After all, we still have Ray Palpatine coming. And then it just kept coming. D23 happened, and this Snow White trailer dropped to become one of the most disliked trailers in the history of YouTube. And yes, I agree with most of you, it looked terrible. The CGI dwarfs were badass at visions. In fact, this live-action Snow White appeared to be mostly CGI. Poorly done CGI at that. But the worst was yet to come. No, it's not that no one cared about anything else that was announced at D23, which no one really cared. But no, the worst is that with the Snow White trailer comes Rachel Zegler in all her wisdom about life. Again, if I was in charge of communications for Disney, I would have told Zegler to sign a contract if she wanted to continue to be employed there. If she opens her mouth and says anything that hurts the brand, the company, or the potential profitability of the film, she would owe Disney $100 million. That way, she would just keep her mouth closed. But nope, that did not happen. No one muzzled her, and she needed to dive right into the Israel-Palestine issue, basically shitposting about freeing Palestine. Meanwhile, her very Israeli co-star, Gal Gadot, has gotten caught up in the social media shitstorm as now Palestinian groups are threatening to boycott the movie because Gal Gadot is in it, and Israeli groups are threatening to boycott the film because of what Rachel Zegler said in social media. And all of this could have been avoided with some careful PR moves and a communications blackout placed over one Rachel Zegler. Look, this movie is already dead. There's no way it makes even $100 million. It wasn't going to do that before when it had to be shelved when Zegler opened her mouth the first time. It's certainly not going to be a hit in March of 2025. This film, which has a budget of around $350 million because they had to reshoot the whole thing, is going to be another huge financial loss for Disney. And it's all their own fault. They didn't do the right thing. They didn't take care of themselves. These are self-inflicted wounds. But the hits just kept on coming. Then we got the lawsuit, which should never have made it out of the office. Now, if you've not heard of this, and I'm sure many of you have, basically, a woman died from food poisoning at a Disney restaurant after she specifically stated that she's allergic to certain foods, dairy and nuts. Disney, the staff, didn't care. They prepared food with nuts in it. Obviously, she died from this. Her husband is suing, but he's being told that because he signed up for a free trial of Disney Plus, buried in the terms of service for that free trial is a clause stating that you cannot sue Disney for anything. This may be one of the most villainously stereotypical modern-day corporate tactics ever used. So Disney looks like this monster of a company, and by that I mean ugly, uncaring, callous, and evil. There's no good look for them here. No saving grace, no silver lining. It's all negative. And here's the real kicker. The guy was only suing for $50,000, not millions like I would have, or like you would have, just $50,000. I mean, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. Again, if there was a competent person controlling any messaging or public-facing news, and they were just a little bit adequate at their job, they would have said to every Disney lawyer, shut the fuck up, pay the man his money, and make it go away. Nope. Instead, you have a story that will live forever and stain the Disney brand permanently. Great job. Now, no one trusts your restaurants. Safety at the park is now called into question, and the facade of being the happiest place on earth continues to flake away to reveal your true colors. And last but not least, a story that should never have made the news as well. One that should have been paid off and put away. Beau DeMayo. That's right. The original writer and showrunner for the X-Men 97 animated series, which was friggin' awesome, by the way, and Beau was fired by Marvel and Disney just days before that show premiered, is back in the news. Disney decided to open its mouth and give an update as to why Beau was fired, except that update was vague and it reeked of spin and ass covering. Basically, they said he violated multiple times harassment guidelines, and where did this happen? On Beau's social media. His personal social media. You see, Beau's a member of the gay community and likes to promote things that occur within that community, and as well, his general pride in being a part of that community. And probably so far, I'm like you, I don't see an issue with this. But that's where Disney's explanation ended. Beau responded by showing a post on X that supposedly got him into hot water, and it looked like an animated picture of Beau dressed up as an X-Men character, Cyclops specifically, but more like a wrestler ready to head to the ring for the WWE, wearing yellow tights and a strap across his chest. Again, I'm not really sure what the problem is. I understand that in the corporate world, when you work for a corporation, and I've worked for corporations in the past, that you represent those corporations even when you're not on the clock, when you're not doing things that are related to that business. You know, if you work for Disney and you do something, you are a Disney employee. You're going to be identified as a Disney employee and somebody who did something that might damage the brand. But again, where's that line between personal and professional work? Where's that line between privacy and public? Where's that line? And is it different for people who work in the entertainment industry? I don't know. But again, no matter where you fall in this issue, who the hell is controlling the message at Disney? There's no winning here for Iger and company. There's no higher ground to get to. There's no moral victory here. There's no winning. They cannot win this fight. Beau is a member of a protected class that got fired for vague reasons and, by the way, seemed to be freaking awesome at his job because the product was top notch. And even if Beau did do something, guess what? There is still no winning for Disney here unless they come out and just plaster the guy as some creep. And even if they do that, he will deny it. And then it's a back and forth where the mud gets everyone dirty. And still, Disney looks bad. Anyone worth their salt in the realm of PR communication would have known this and would have told whoever sent out that update on the whole Beau DeMayo controversy that they should have just put it away, move on, and don't attract attention to it. I mean, it was almost forgotten by the entire general public at this point. Now it's front and center again. Disney is sinking in quicksand, basically, and the worst thing you can do when sinking in quicksand is to move without control. It'll only cause you to sink more. My point is this: Disney, for all that's going on, every bad news story, every negative blight on their reputation is earned, justified, and warranted. This is a company that was once the pinnacle of American business and entertainment, and through hubris and ego and a superiority complex that seems to have spread corporate-wide, we're witnessing a decline that will be studied and pondered in academic business schools and argued about in financial journals for decades to come. The only solution at this point is a complete overhaul of the executive and corporate structure, and that is something that does not happen very often. Only when a company is in its death throes do you see drastic actions like this take place. And if you need proof of that, see Paramount and what they've had to do over the last month. Another dying entertainment brand that was once the top of the mountain. So no, I don't have any hope for Disney at this point. They seem hell-bent on offing themselves, and all we can do as commentators and as fans is watch it happen. And it's really kind of sad in the end. No one's going to win, and no one's going to come out on top. And that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And if you want more pop culture fun and commentary, click on the links in the description for my general movie review playlist and my retro movie review playlist. As well, if you like this video, consider hitting the like button, subscribing, and sharing it out. It really helps us out each week. As always, I thank you for watching. Remember, I'm still your reluctant gringo from south of the border. Salute, and I'll wave 'em.